Hello, and welcome to Experience of the Soul, a weekly space to help you grow, prosper, and move boldly into your spiritual power. This week, spiritual teacher and author Cynthia Alice Anderson explores energetic shifts, spiritual law, and bold new momentum in our lives. We invite you to listen with an open heart. And now, Cynthia Alice Anderson.
Hello and welcome to the Experience of the Soul podcast. My name is Cynthia Alice Anderson. I'm the host. I'm here today in my studio with my amazing producer, Mr. Sean Kilgore. So we want to welcome him into the show. Sean, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. Love being here with you. So excited that it's another day to record. Super blessed and honored, as always, to be here. This is episode 401. We have passed the 400 threshold. And we are into into 401. Can you
I know
believe it?
somebody asked me the other day, how long are you going to be doing that podcast? I said, you just never know. You just never know.
Yeah. As long as it goes. I mean, you'll know,
Exactly. Well, it's been a great ride so far. I mean, is it true? It's almost 8 years. I think that's true.
Yeah, probably.
It's hard to believe, but friends, it's your love and your support, your financial support, and also us knowing that it lifts you up. I mean, it's part of what gets me up in the morning, knowing I'm affecting lives in a positive way, especially with all the, all the negativity we're seeing around us, the hatred, the fear, the ICE, the president going, in his madness. Sometimes I feel like I just have to name it because we all know what I'm talking about. And it's not just the president. It seems to be anyone in power in, in the highest echelon of our country. It's got us down. So if we can band together, remember, love is the key. Unity is the key. Collaboration, not competition, is the key. Then, friends, we can move forward to do mighty things. And we're happy to be a part of lifting you up, to remember that on your journey. And also, I wanted to thank everyone, that came out and that supported for our in-person show that we did. That was a lot of fun to do a live show. In the coffee shop, and we'll be doing more of those in the future.
Yeah, I look forward to that. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so friends, today is Monday, February 23rd, but welcome whenever you are joining us. But let's go ahead now and take a gentle look at what's showing up on the calendar this week across a few different spiritual paths. So today, Monday, February 23rd, in the Eastern Orthodox tradition is what's known as Clean Monday, beginning Great Lent. So this is a season of simplifying, of fasting, of prayer, of inner reset. So it's less about being perfect and more about starting fresh, clearing out what clutters the heart, mind, and soul so that love can move through us more freely.
What a good idea.
Yeah, right? And tomorrow at sunset and ending at sunset on February 28th, in the Baha'i calendar is what's known as Ayami Ha. This is a joyful stretch of days that is known for its focus on generosity and hospitality and service and gift giving. It's a beautiful reminder that spiritual life isn't only about devotion, it's also about kindness.
Yes. Oh, the Baha'i faith, I've had really good associations with people from the Baha'i faith. We've talked about it before on the show, and I know Daniel Namod has as well, who's also, a regular guest on the show. But if you have ever heard Daniel Namod's song, One Power, he talks about Baha'u'llah, right? That is from the Baha'i faith. So, happy to lift them up. Yes.
Yeah. And then starting the evening of Friday, this Friday, February 27th, and ending on Saturday, February 28th, is what's known as Shabbat Zachor. So this is this Jewish Sabbath is sort of a call to remember, traditionally tied to communal memory and moral vigilance. Mm-hmm. So spiritually, this is an invitation to notice what we may be forgetting, like our values, our courage, and the quiet power of choosing goodness again.
Amen. Gosh, I'm so glad you said that. It's interesting, Sean, these that you've lifted up, because what I keep coming back to in my own life and my own journey is the lack of, say, character, fortitude, and structure.
Mm.
And I'm not sure where that got lost, but I feel like there's a coming back to that. I feel like people are realizing that the division is so hurtful that I know I keep saying this, but I'm really feeling it. I do see people moving in towards unity that I never would have imagined are, because of just how gross what we're seeing, that the outplaying of everything is. So anyway, my point in saying all that is I'm even asking myself, is there a way I can be stronger in my character, how I speak about certain things, how I am carrying myself in the world in a way that's, yes, very positive, but also very, very clear. So I love all of these ideas that you're lifting up for us.
Yeah, me too. This one reminded me of a quote from the new Wicked movie for Good. We're seeing this quote a lot
Right,
on television in the
right,
commercials for it because it's about to be streaming and whatever. But
right.
it's such a strong quote where Alphaba says, "We can't let good be just a word. It has
Mm.
to mean something."
Yes.
Yeah. All right, friends. With that, we move into a little moment in astrology here. So
Uh-huh.
so tomorrow, Tuesday, is what's known as the first quarter moon, and for
Mhm.
us spiritually, it's supposed to be a moment of decision and momentum. So this is when, if we're doing our our intentions practice, this is a great time to take those intentions from ideas and move them into actual practice. So if
Yeah.
there's something that really matters to you right now, something that you're intending this week, astrologically asks you, what's one small step that makes your intention real?
Beautiful, beautiful. And Sean, that's gonna really help us in our thinking for the show today as I answer some of these questions. So that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. This Sunday, March 1st, is what's known as World Compliment Day. World Compliment Day is a simple global invitation to speak kindness out loud, freely and sincerely. Compliments don't have to be grand or polished. Even a small word of appreciation can really shift someone's entire day. We all kind of know this. And it can, if you do that for someone else, it's going to shift your day also. Spiritually, this is a reminder that what we affirm in others, we often strengthen within ourselves.
Oh, without a doubt, my friend,
Amen.
without a doubt.
Amen. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And, it might be fun to do like a little contest with yourself. How many people could I compliment in a day? That might be fun.
I love that idea.
That might be fun. And of course, it depends. Like if you work at home, you might have to work at it. You might have to
I'm
like
like,
start ringing up
just,
your friends and saying,
I'm doing such a good job
pat
today.
myself on the back. Well, my
Go me.
thought no, my thought was, Sean,
Yes.
little course correction there, that you might reach out to a friend or family member by phone
Yeah.
or send a little text that says, "Hey, thinking about you, love you, bless you, and thank you for being in my life." I usually like those things to be by phone. Like that's always my preference. But sometimes somebody getting a text at the right moment where they can go back and read it is powerful. I don't know. I don't know why this reminded me of this, but several months ago, I reached out to my coaches. This is my former gym now because I've since moved, but I sent them because they had an instructor leave, and I just said, I'm sure you're, working hard behind the scenes, but to us, that are taking classes, you guys are doing a great job. You support us, you're showing up, and we so appreciate it. You guys do a great job, and I'm personally grateful for you and grateful for the school or something like that. And it was like a few sentences, man. It was not much. And one of the instructors came to me with tears in his eyes and said, "You have no idea how much this meant to me. I read this every single day." Like
Uh-huh.
3 months later, he came to me and said, "You remember that thing you sent? I still read it every morning to start my day because it helps me get ready to go in, and because he gets up at like 4 a.m. and stuff like that, to go do classes for people
Wow.
at all different times of the day." So anyway, my point is, it only took me a few seconds, and somebody has kept for months now and
Yeah.
is reading every day. That meant the world. So sometimes it can be a nice text.
Yeah. A few seconds and a couple of sentences really can,
I
have a
mean,
huge impact on somebody else. That's incredible. It's beautiful.
yeah. Yeah.
Our just for fun for this week is on this Friday, February 27th, and it is National Retro Day. This one really, I kind of resonated with me. I feel
I
like,
love that one too.
yeah, me too, me too. Of course, I'm always listening to like 70s music and that kind of stuff. And so National Retro Day invites us to celebrate styles, music, and memories and moments from the past, not to live there, but to really appreciate how far we've come. It's a day that encourages us to take a break from modern technology and enjoy the nostalgia of earlier days.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
And
I
that's a very,
love that one.
yeah, me too, me too. I just picture us all dressed up in like 70s.
Oh, I was thinking even older, but I like
Oh, that's
70s
cool.
too.
No, yeah, I guess that's where my, that's
Well,
where
70s, yeah. Well, with our age, right? That's
yeah,
kind of, and everybody thinks retro and design wise, right? It's mid-century modern. Everybody loves mid-century
yeah.
modern.
Awesome.
So that's a lot of
So
fun.
what does your mind go to when you think of retro? Like what
For
is
some
your
reason, I went to the 50s because
Oh, okay.
I like a lot of things from the 50s and 60s. A lot of the music, a lot of the fashion. So I like a lot of that from
Yeah,
that
me
time.
too.
This watch I have on today was my dad's. This is from the 50s.
Oh,
And believe it
nice.
or not, men used to wear these kind of watches. It's very thin, but I always loved this look. And my dad died when I was really young, so I don't have a lot of his. But this is totally a watch from the 50s. I just got it completely rebuilt so I could wear it. Because the quality and the style and the craftsmanship is just awesome. I love it.
Yeah, anything built back then, like
Oh,
our home was built in 1925, and when we have people working on the house, they can't believe, how well built it is, how sturdy it is, how
how
thick the
square, how
planks are.
plumb,
Yes,
right? Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
know.
They don't
Yes.
make them like that anymore, right?
No, it's
Right.
so true. It's so true. That's a cool one, Sean. Thank you for lifting that one
Yeah,
up.
totally. And friends, as
National
we
Retro Day.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's National Retro Day this Friday. So, as we close out this section of This Week in Spiritual History, something to think about. What would it look like for you this week to begin again with less weight, more kindness, and one brave next step?
Beautiful.
With that, friends, we move into episode 401 of Experience of the Soul podcast. We are continuing with Ask RCA because we had some questions left over and we didn't want
Yeah.
to leave them unanswered. So, we're going to begin today's episode with this question, which I think is a great question. So the question is, what are the energetic grid changes that we are experiencing? And so maybe you could break just that part of the question down too, for those that may not understand energetic grid changes. And the question goes on to say, how can we incorporate these energetic shifts into each of our bodies for growth and utilization?
Okay. All right. So, yes, this is a very spiritual question, and I'm going to call it a new age question. So, I am not a new age expert. What I am is a new thought minister, but I love to study esoteric teachings. I love to study things about the universe itself, about quantum physics. I love to, discover how we live in an energetic universe. And I also love how that always comes back to how Jesus was able to do the miracles he was able to do. Like for me, they're interrelated. And so there is a movement of people that talk about moving into 5D, in other words, going from 3D to 5D, and then 5D love reigns. And the idea of this is that many of there are ley lines, right? Ley lines. And we know astrologically, even when we live, even geographically, at certain ley lines, we might have a certain resonance there. Like I had a dear friend that taught me about living. It's not good to live at a certain crossing, depending on what your astrological sign is, because you will always be sick. You'll always be, feel like you can't get your head above water when you're living in a place that is contrary to your energy. And I didn't believe it at first, and then I moved to Phoenix. And Phoenix for me, I later discovered was not good for me energetically, even though I loved the place to visit. When I visit, it's no problem. But to live there, I was sick the entire time I lived there. And so there are forces in the universe. They are under God's command, yes, but there are forces in the universe that exist that are energetic. And so I think it is important that we are aware that simply that we live in an energetic universe, and I am an energetic being. I love to often affirm I am a spiritual being living in a spiritual universe that is governed by spiritual law. In other words, everything is energy, all is energy. So I am experiencing an energetic moment right now in my happiness. My happiness has a certain energetic frequency, much like music of a certain kind has a frequency. And we know certain music, heavy metal music, has a different impact than classical music simply because they're at different frequencies. So for us, spiritually, there are different energies that we are in and out of and are impacted by. So there are many people that feel we are rising into a new energy. And I believe we are too. And I believe all of this suffering, all of this violence we're seeing, that's all coming up for healing so that we can move into this higher energy of love. And Sean, I don't know if you saw the Super Bowl, but there was in fact a sign. It was a Levi. Did you see the
I
Levi
did.
sign that
Yes.
said
Yeah.
the only thing stronger than hate is love?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, I can tell you a decade ago, Levi's would not have gotten near that billboard. It was still about toughness. It was about, so something is shifting when you see major corporations preaching and talking about love that have been around. Levi's is really one of the oldest companies. I don't know the exact, that might be interesting to know because I mean, Levi's was like the original denim, right? So I just found that interesting. So what are the energetic changes? Well, there are changes in the ley lines in the grid itself, and if that's something that you love, you really should work with an expert on it. Is what I have to say. But the energetic shifts that I'm really working with is the energetic shift into the Chinese astrology of the wild horse. And the shift officially happened last week, although we're going to be in it all year. And I wanted to, speak a little bit about that, but I want to make sure I'm also answering the second part of the question.
Yes. So the second part of the question again is how can we incorporate these energetic shifts into each
Okay.
of our bodies for growth and utilization?
Oh, okay, good, good, good. All right. Well, this is the perfect way to answer it. So, if you want, like I say, to learn more about the ley lines and more about moving into 5D, there are endless resources to do that. I'm not the best resource for that, but what I do know is that we are moving into a higher consciousness. We are definitely impacted, mostly unconsciously, because we live in an energetic universe. And so first of all, I will say the best thing you can do is to continue to do the transformative work, but at a deep level. But I also know in this new year, which is Year of the Horse in Chinese astrology, what we're doing is moving boldly into our freedom. It's about a new energy coming through. So 2025 was Year of the Snake, which is about, shedding of the old. It's about deep inner work. It's about letting go of rigidity. And look at the systems that were breaking down in 2025 and continue to be in 2026. But 2026, Year of the Horse, which started February 17th, just a week ago. Wait, was the 17th a week ago? Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And is about, a whole new energy. So it's been for those of you who haven't really studied Chinese astrology, there are basically 12 signs in Chinese astrology. There's like rooster, oxen, rat, I can't think of all of them, right? Dragon, monkey,
Yeah.
So we're now 2026. Chinese New Year is February 17th. So we just moved into the new energy. And so again, this is the energy many of us are not aware of, and the one that I've been working with the most. And if in the last year, Snake taught us to soften, to release, to let go, to, flow with changes. This is the behavior of a snake, moves and easily in and out of situations, releasing what doesn't serve, and then moving into a new life. Well, the new life we're moving into right now is 2026 year. It's called Year of the Fire Horse. So there is a lot of powerful energy coming in. And if Snake releases the old, then the horse is about carrying the vision forward. So you will see this unconsciously playing out everywhere. And for us personally, this is really, really great because if we've had a vision, we've really been working. 2026 really could be your year to manifest. It's like 2024, 2025, you were really building, you were really deepening the inner work. And Sean, I know you and I have both talked about how much our work has deepened together over the last couple of years. Well, the good news is we've shed the old, the new is coming in, and it's coming in big. This fire horse energy, I mean, psychologically, if you have a dream, horse is the power of the ego, right? That amazing spirit. So horse is a very, very strong energy we're coming into in 2026. And it's about using this new energy very intentionally, not just charging through, but all the inner work that's paid off. And now we're moving forward with guidance and clarity. We're moving forward with intentionality and focus in a powerful way. When a horse has a destination in mind, watch out. There's nothing that's going to stop horse. So it is empowerment. It is heart-centered, or I would even call it heart-led. Horses have such heart and such spirit, but it's also about alignment. Like it's singularly focused in terms of what we are called into doing and being. So it's also, I have to say, about boldness. It's like the time for the time of shedding is over. Time to walk into our newness with boldness, with clarity, with a sense of vision. And even though it is also about decisive action, it's about a sensitive strength because that's what horse is. Sean, I know I've shared on the show before that I worked with what I would call a horse whisperer. He never called himself that because he thought everything was so overblown with becoming a horse whisperer and all that stuff. But because his was really found through his own work through horses over years and years and years. And one of the things he taught me about their sensitivity and their strength, he would say, I want you to think about the sensitivity of a horse. And he would say, a horse can feel a fly anywhere on its body. Even humans can't do that.
That's incredible. Yeah.
A horse can smell you a quarter mile away and already knows how you're going to arrive before they even see you.
Oh, wow. Like energetically?
Yes, energetically, physically, because they know your scent. anger, if you have perspiration, if you are feeling light and happy, because they're very energetic beings. And one of the things he taught me to do is to move a horse only using energy.
Wow.
So I would be on the ground, the horse would be on the ground, and we would be in a round pen. And he taught me to move my energy forward without moving my body or hand signals, and get the horse to pick up its leg and move it backwards and move it backwards. This is moving like a 1,500-pound animal with energy. That's how sensitive they are. And so,
Wow.
friends, I'm saying all this because I really connect with the energy of the horse. And I've studied horse for so long. And this energy for me in my life at this time is very, very powerful. So I am thrilled about 2026. It's about big vision. It's about moving forward. It's about being authentic. It's about the things I talk about all the time, right? It's about empowerment. It's about authenticity, but it's also about sensitivity. You know, it's like, I'm not going to just roll over the next person I see. I'm going to focus. I'm going to tap into energy. I'm going to make a decisive action about what's mine to do. And then I'm going to move forward to do it. But I don't have time to look around and blame somebody or be caught up in the past, because I have an intentionality. I am focused. I am moving forward in a powerful way to do what is mine to do finally. Yeah, the shedding of the old, the deeper work. You know, I've talked so much about release, and I have a real specific goal to manifest this year, and it is a big one. But I feel so guided in this, that this is my year with the energy of Fire Horse, coming through.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I would even say innovation is a part of the work this year. Maybe we're innovating new ideas with our careers. Maybe we're innovating with how we do relationships. So I'm not saying you have to, create an experiment out of thin air and you don't have a science background. I mean, innovation in terms of how you approach life's issues. Maybe you learn a new way to innovatively manage finance and get the most out of your dollars. Or, maybe you have a rental property and you've never had a rental property before. Maybe you innovate the way you're thinking. That there's something new and bold and big that's moving in and through all of us here in 2026. So I know it isn't just me, because this is celebrated all over the world,
Right.
So and the wonderful thing about it is I find the Chinese astrology to be very accurate in terms of what I experience energetically. And I have worked one-on-one with a Chinese astrologer who's done it for over 50 years. So, there's a wealth of information there spiritually. And again, the beautiful thing is, it doesn't conflict at all with any of my Christian beliefs. It simply heightens my awareness about what the energetic reality is that I'm walking into. And for me, this is all God given. There's no separation between the energy I feel and Fire Horse. There's no difference in that energy than Jesus changing water to wine. That is the energy of Fire Horse. This ability to innovate in the moment. So for me, this is all the same. And so, that second part, Sean, of this question about incorporating these energetic shifts into our bodies, or, for growth, simply being aware of the energy is number one, because there is a powerful energy that's kind of tapping us to move. And so if you're not ready to move, you may have to play a little bit of catch up. But for our listeners, we're talking about release. My gosh, how many times last year did we talk about release? How many times did we talk about forgiveness? Okay, new year, new energy, a fire horse is on. Boy, be about what you're supposed to be about. Quit talking about everybody else. Do what's yours to do.
I love that. Quit talking about everybody else. Do what is yours to do. That's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shift into that energy of it's almost like we're rising, like when I think of the difference between a snake and a horse, there could not be, I don't think, two more opposing energies. That said, both are necessary, because if you haven't done the shedding of the old, you can't really move, into this higher vision. And so each of the energies are helpful in their own special way. And as I said earlier, if you've shed, if the snake really is about shedding or releasing the old, then fire horse is about moving forward into what's next. So you have to have both. And so if you find yourself needing to move forward, so this is how to incorporate. If you find yourself needing to move forward and you're still in the past, okay, you may have to call on that energy of release so that you can move forward. So you still may be holding on to some old, but with a new awareness, sometimes the moving forward takes care of the release. Because not every single thing ever in your history has to be talked about in therapy. Not every single thing has to be, gone over and over and over and over. It may be time simply to move forward and do what's yours to do. But again, with clarity, with focus, with freedom, with sensitive strength.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. With a very clear direction and intention. So this is the energy I believe we are called to.
I love it. I love that it all sort of encompasses this, what you said earlier. And I've heard you said this before, but
yes,
I am a spiritual being living in a spiritual universe guided by spiritual laws. This is something that you have said before, but beautifully encompasses kind of everything you just talked about. It doesn't, like these beliefs of, the Chinese New Year and that energy doesn't have to conflict with your Christian beliefs, or there's room for all of it. It's all spiritual laws, right? It's all spiritual. It's all part of the spiritual universe.
Right. It's all part of the spiritual universe. Exactly. Well, and it is very interesting to me that a lot of scholars now believe, because there's a big gap in the Bible, from Jesus at 13 to Jesus at 33, basically, or 30 to 30. And, he basically had a 3-year ministry. So, but people say, well, what happened in those years we know nothing about? Well, many scholars feel that Jesus went to the East and studied, because so much of the Jesus teachings are in alignment with the teachers of the East. I don't know that matters, but what I find fascinating is that at the core, it's what I keep coming back to: Hinduism, Christianity, the truths are the same, and it's a God by a different name, but it's knowing our oneness, being kind to each other, loving each other, forgiving each other, giving to where we receive our spiritual food, receiving with gratitude and love, being in gratitude for all the good. These are the principles found in every world religion, because it's what makes life work. So, yeah, you're exactly right. This is all one teaching. And I feel so strongly that as we learn from each other, we are more awakened to the truth that the Christ so fully embodied, because we're limited. I didn't grow up in Judaism. Jesus's teaching arose up from Judaism. So I don't always fully understand. So me studying Judaism helps. Me studying other religions helps, because it's a different aspect for what Jesus so fully embodied. So, yeah, for me, this energy of the fire horse simply helps me embody more of the good God has for me because of that truth, Sean. I'm a
Beautiful.
spiritual being living in a spiritual universe that is governed by spiritual laws. And my friends, we are energetic. And I want to encourage you to protect your peace, to not give away your consciousness to just anybody. I want you to be very selective in how you walk through the world and how you take in your information. I want you to honor yourself as a beautiful spiritual soul that you are. I want you to honor yourself in your walk with God and protect the sacredness of your journey. And I want for you to know that you are loved beyond your imagination and that everything that's happening right now is for your good. Our work is to find out what is ours to do to bring more good into the world and help our world rise up into this energy of freedom, this energy of forward movement, this energy of bold, decisive action, being heart led, being forward moving, but not overdriven, just forward moving with intention, with great spirit and love to do what's ours to do from a very authentic place to bless others and to receive that blessing that God has for us. So, my friends, we love you. We bless you. We're honored to bring you the show. And today, my friends, go out and make it a great day. Live your power, your energy, and your love in the world. And we honor you in it. So, my friend, thank you for joining us today. It is always wonderful to have you along your spiritual journey. And we see you loved, supported, and blessed as you do this work. See you next week.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Experience of the Soul podcast with Cynthia Alice Anderson. This show is made possible by listeners like you, and your support helps keep these conversations available to all. If this podcast has supported you, you're invited to share it with someone you love or support the show at cynthiaaliceanderson.com/donate. Produced by Kilgore Creative and a production of the Soulworks Group Incorporated. We are so grateful for you, and we are holding you in prayer for God's highest and best in your life. Blessings on the journey. You're listening to the Experience of the Soul podcast channel, bringing you inspiration, teachings, and practices to support your spiritual journey.